Hey, hi, hello, and welcome back. Today we are going to do a no makeup. That might seem redundant to a lot of you, but it is actually a lifesaver. I do a no makeup every single day. It's really simple and you can get in and out of the door in 10 minutes. So if you're a beginner, this is perfect for you. Bringing back the boys. Hey, hi, and hello. So step one is obviously going to be skin prep. I already did that off camera. I will do a separate video on that another time if you guys care enough about that. But make sure that you are moisturized, you have your sunscreen on, you have your primer if you're a primer girly, and then you are good to go. I have already done that, so I'm just gleaming and glazing like the donuts. So I'm just going to jump right in. So we are going to start with eyebrows today. I'm using the Senna Sketch a Brow Brow Pencil. And for this one, brows are a very hard thing. If you are not at the point where you can use a pencil, you don't have to use anything. You could use a brow gel, but I'm teaching you how to pencil today. So get your pencils out, school's in f***ing session. So when you're filling out your eyebrows, you never want to overdo it. I know 2016 was all about the big bold brows, but that's why everybody is having eyebrow blindness. I probably still have eyebrow blindness. Trends change as the times go on. But the way to keep it the most simple is to work with what you have and not to overdo what's not there. The best way to get this is to follow the natural shape at the bottom of your brow, and you're just going to draw a line from front to back, like so. I'm not emphasizing, I'm not overly arching, I'm not dragging out, I am just filling in what's already there. So when you're filling in your brow hairs, you want to go the direction that they face. If they go down, you go down with them. If they go up, you go up with them. That is going to give you the most natural brow that you're ever going to get. And it's not going to cause them to look overfilled, overdone, because you're literally just going to draw little hair strokes. So with my brows, I have them slightly at an angle to start. They go straight to the side, and then they just go down at the very ends. You can see I'm doing quick little strokes, nothing crazy, very simple. And now for any harsh lines, I'm using the spoolie on the back of this. You can also just use a regular mascara wand, and I'm just going to lightly brush through. I like to brush through about 6 times, nothing crazy. And if you overdo it and accidentally buff out a little bit too much, you can always just go back in. With those hair strokes, I buffed out a little bit too much right here, so I will just do 1, 2. Very light and very simple, again, because you don't want to have an overly large, crazy looking eyebrow. So as you can see in the side by side, this is with, and this is without. This is also going to make my face appear more expressive throughout the day. It is going to bring vibrance into it. It's because you can see I have like no eyebrows, which is weird. I have all this hair and literally no eyebrows. You win some, you lose some, okay? And then it's going to be the exact same on the other side, so just repeat. However, sometimes your hair might be a little bit different. Like honestly, mine goes straighter than more here than it goes down. I will still try my best to keep it symmetrical and do a couple of little down strokes, so that way it's not overly different. But once again, follow your hair strokes. So the next step is foundation, and I like to do this very minimally. I like to focus putting my foundation closer towards the outer area, and by that, I mean, I'll do my dots here. I like to do this method instead of using the pump bottle all the time, just for lighter coverage. If you notice, I don't have anything going on here, and that is intentional. I'm going to take my foundation brush, I'm going to buff it out, tap, don't drag, you know the rules here. And the reason that I do it this way is because if we're going for a true no makeup type of makeup, you want the coverage to still be light-handed. So by adding more coverage on this outer area and working it in, you're getting the most soft blend into the middle of the face, which is kind of the focus. So you're still getting coverage, it's just not going to be super heavy coverage, which will help enhance that idea of no makeup. And I am, again, even though I am blending upward, I'm doing most of the blending on this side out and down before I bring it in. This is also going to help decrease any smile lines, any creasing around the eyes and things like that by a lot. The less coverage in those areas that move, the less likely it is to crease. I also recommend less coverage in these areas because like the forehead and around the cheekbones and on the nose, you tend to have the highest points of light capturing, and the less product you have there, the less it's going to be for setting with powders and things like that later down the line, and that's going to prevent caking. And for foundation, I typically like a brush that's a little bit more flat-headed. You can see on this one, it has a little bit of an angle from the side, but it still sits flat, and it has a little bit of a stipple on it. That's my personal preference, but any flat head brush is really going to work the best to give you the most natural and seamless blend. And I like to bring it down slightly into the neck. And the reason I say that is because if you are color matching to yourself properly, or if you've been color matched properly, there shouldn't be a difference between the shade of your neck into your face. A lot of people are matching just to their face, and that's where they're going wrong. You want to match to your neck because your neck is always going to be a different shade than your face, and that way you will naturally get a more seamless blend if you don't want to drag it any lower. I like to do it just for my own peace of mind, essentially, but that will ensure that you don't have to do that. And as you can see, now that I have it on, even though I have less coverage here and more coverage on the outer, it still looks like I have foundation on. I'm still wearing makeup. It's just not a super heavy look. Now, concealer, that is one step in a no makeup makeup that is technically optional. If you have under eye bags, if you have some dark spots, acne, things you want to cover, by all means. Me personally, I never really use concealer. I don't feel like I need it too much, but for the no makeup girlies and for those who like to use concealer, I'm going to show you how to do it in the most natural way. So in order for this to become a true flawless no makeup look, you want to remember the term that less is more, and that is very true, especially with these types of makeups. You don't want to go super heavy with concealer. Again, spot treat if you need it. I'm not really having any breakouts that I feel that I need to cover, so I'm just going to do a little bit of under eye coverage today for a little bit of a brightening effect. So for concealer, I say focus on the areas that are the deepest. When people have dark circles, it tends to come in here in the very inner corner, and some people have it going all the way down. Focus it where you need it. Again, me personally, I don't like to use it. I don't need it super heavy, so I'm just gonna focus on the inner corner and just slightly out, because if you use a liquid-based one, it is going to blend out anyways. You can absolutely apply with the tube from the concealer. I just chose not to for one reason, because this one is a part of my kit, so I need to do it in a more sanitary way. And two, I like to put it either on a palette or on the back of my hand, so that way I'm getting less product than what's on the sponge and you're getting lighter coverage overall. And I'm going to go in with this Beauty For Real concealer brush. Once again, has a little bit of a slant and flat head there because you're going to be able to really get in. And you're going to see how this starts to blend out. A little goes a long way with concealer. And I like to bring it down ever so slightly, so that way you're really going to get that brightening effect. Exorcist it out for a minute. And even though we had a little bit of product, you can already see how much brightening it's doing up through here. And here's the side-by-side difference. You can see that this area is a little bit more brightened, a little more lifted, especially since I brought it up and out compared to this side. Oh, and once again, I am going to beat this so hard into your head. Tap, don't drag. We're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but I'm going to go back in and dim it down just a little bit because, again, we want this to look natural. I'm going to take my foundation brush with no extra product on it and just buff and blend it all together. So the next step is going to be blush. I have made it very clear that I'm very blush aware. I like a lot of blush even with my no makeup makeup. For this purpose, I will dim it down for you guys. I'm still going to go in with my same blush that I always use. This is the Huda Beauty in the shade Black Cherry. And I'm kind of going to take a little bit of that excess off on the sides just so that way it's a little less pigmented. And I'm going to do one dot per side. So I'm going to go in with this blush brush here. It's a little bit rounded, a little bit fluffy. And I'm going to kind of do a little sweeping motions, kind of like this, in the direction that I want the blush to go. And once I get it set and ready, then I'm just going to tap and blend it out. Now, I've mentioned this before, but if you are somebody like me who has higher cheekbones, I don't recommend bringing to the apples of your cheeks, and I do recommend bringing it up or close to the temple because that way it's going to give you a natural lift into the face and not drag and make you look so heavy. I usually only do about halfway down the apple of my cheek. And I try to follow and keep it right at the base of where I put that concealer if I use concealer. So this is a very me version of blush for me. Even when I do my no makeup makeups, people can usually tell I'm wearing blush because I'm crazy. But this is a very nice, soft, and subtle. It's going to bring that vibrancy and that natural flush back into the face, which is what you want. Even though we're trying to cover up any redness, any discoloration, we still want to look like a person. And that's why we add little pinks and reds and things like that because look at it. I look so warm and inviting, don't I? And once again, with this guy, if you're feeling it's a little heavy or a little just not blended how you want it, just lightly tap over. Since you're doing such a light amount, I only recommend tapping about that much, but look at the difference side by side. Next step is going to be your eyelashes. I personally don't like to put on mascara super often, but I'm going to show you how to do it in a very minimal way. So I'm going to go in and give them a curl. So this is an optional step if you already have your lashes done. If you just don't like them to be curled, by all means, I love my lashes to stand higher than my forehead if I can help it. So now that the lashes are curled and lifted, I'm going to go in with my mascara. I'm using the Maybelline Colossal Big Shot. I love Maybelline. I live, breathe, and die Maybelline. You can't go wrong with a good Maybelline mascara. So that's if you're looking for something that is going to give lift and volume, stick with her. Now, I don't really like the feel of mascara on my eyelashes super heavy, but I still want that full look. So what I like to do is start by just pressing at the base of these lashes and just lightly 1, 2, 3. You can see the difference in the side by side. They already look a little more full and they already look a little bit darker. For the bottom, I'll just do a general sweep very, very lightly. I don't like to press super hard. And now this step is for me. I know not everybody has like loose mascara wands, but if you can get them, they're very cheap on Amazon. I like to use that to just kind of brush it through so that way there's no clumping and it loosens the amount of product and feel on your eyes. And I just find that at the end it gives like the prettiest and most natural feel to the mascara. And the reason that I like to do my mascara that way and not the standard just swipe and go is because I personally have thick and heavy lashes, which I'm happy about that. But that also means that the more product I put on my lashes, the heavier they're going to fall. So if you have thicker and heavier lashes like I do, I always recommend less product. And when you put it at the base and drag it up, you're using what product you already have rather than adding more and getting a more even distribution. Now, if you are a chapstick only girly, throw on your chapstick and you're ready to go. But I love to always add a little bit of a lipstick because it's just going to really bring an extra vibrance into the center of your face. I'm going to use the Fenty Ballin' Babe. However, Rihanna, if you're watching this, please send me another one. I am so low on this. This is genuinely my every single day lipstick. I can't live without it. I just have not been able to go to Sephora and get another one yet. So this is how we're doing it. You don't have to use a lip brush. Pretty much everybody will go in with their actual tube, but this is just, this is the conditions that we're living in, okay? It's tough out here in these streets. I'm not doing anything particular. I'm just putting it all over my lip. And for a no makeup makeup, I don't recommend overlining if you're going to do a lip liner. You want it to look natural, and overlining is very tricky and it is very hard to make it look natural. So I say avoid it overall. But I'm not your mom. I'm not the makeup gods. I'm not the makeup police. Whatever. So I just like to start from the outer, do one swipe across, and then I'll fill in closer to the center. And I do this even when I use the actual lipstick tube. It's a little complicated right now. When it comes to the upper part of your lip, like I said, you don't want to do any overlining, anything crazy. You just kind of want to follow natural curves. So I always start by going from one side down, other side down, and then I'll smooth out the rest of it that way. Now, if you're using a brush, the beauty of a brush is that you can pinpoint a little bit more specifically. I'm extra and annoying, so that's why I'm doing it this way. But with your regular lipstick, you could still do the same. Just try to keep the point of the tube exactly where your lips stop, so that way there's not any crazy misconstruction or anything like that. And don't forget your inner corners. You are going to the dentist with this one. Because even though it's a no makeup makeup, we still want to have our fullest lips. Ah, I would die for this shade. It's so pretty and perfect for me. Thanks, Rihanna. I love you. I'm going to take my concealer brush and I'm going to go in with my setting powder. This is the Nye Colorless Neutral Set. You can use whichever setting powder you have on deck. I like a colorless powder because I don't want any other colors personally. And I am just going to lightly put that exactly where my concealer is set. Now, I don't know if you guys can see the difference already, but this area is already much more smoother. It's a lot less vibrant and bright. It's not capturing as much light, and it's just going to give me a more smooth base. Using that same powder, and I like to do a very light dusting if you can't tell, because the less powder, the less caking you're going to get. And I'm going to focus it in the center of my forehead first, in that T-zone area, essentially, that gets the most oily. And I like to really, if you can see, I'm really pressing that into the skin so that way it gets in there. And then once I'm done there, I'll go lightly over my face where I feel I need it. Now keep in mind, if you have dry skin, I do not recommend powder over the whole face. I recommend powdering where you need it and then going in with a mattifying setting spray. I don't really have dry skin, so I always give a light dusting all over, but powder is not necessary for the whole face if you are dry. So keep in mind and apply as you need. This is how everything is looking. Everything looks a lot more smooth, like a lot more clear, and a lot less shiny, which is exactly what I prefer. If you are a dewy person, by all means, set with a dewy setting spray and you're good to go. I'm going in with a mattifying one. This setting spray is from Ulta Beauty. I had to depot it because my bottle broke, but it works like magic, and it's only like $8. So now you saw that I didn't do too much setting spray. That's realistically all you need. Don't go overboard. Don't go crazy. You don't want your skin to flake off and feel really crackly throughout the day. A little goes a long way with all of this makeup from start to finish, but that's it. And this is the final look. I have to add my glasses, so don't worry about that if you don't have them. But this is what it looks like. I do this every single day. It is very simple makeup. It gets me in and out the door really quick. And I just love the way that it just gives me a very clear canvas without overdoing it. Let me know what you guys think of the look. Let me know if you guys thought this was easy and made a little bit of sense. If you want anything else done in the future tutorial-wise, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.